It's an evidence-based practice, meaning that there have been proven research to document to say that it does work. And a lot of it is really talking about your mind and your behavior, the way you think uh, evolves around the way that you actually start to behave. So they try to give you ways to look at things in a different perspective, to try to debate irrational beliefs and gather more information to try and help you understand the reality of it instead of being irrational.
Perfect. Because I mean, one of the examples I think most people would understand where CBT or cognitive behavior therapy comes into daily existence, and where they may have heard about it, with things like people who have, for instance, traumatic incidents, say a car accident or something, and then they may have the aversion to a certain taste or a certain color. So
Right.
CBT is used to find out what stemmed that off. And a lot of this is, again, this is my understanding, and I'll like to explore this with you. But for example, for that very example, if someone had a traumatic accident, and maybe they had the smell of a pack of chips, for instance, and they may then, after the event, have very, aversion to that flavor and that taste. Through cognitive behavioral therapy, you would go back and you would discover, like, okay, what stemmed that off, and you'd understand that the relation to it was traumatic experience. Your brain has, in that trauma moment, has associated that with a smell. Therefore, you have the smell will trigger that off. And this is what cognitive behavioral therapy goes to make you go through it yourself to understand where those triggers are coming from, and do some sort of exercises to make you not go down those pathways. Is that a kind of good synopsis?
Well, it's really to try and help you like rethink the way that you have been thinking, not so much as help you identify the triggers. So it's like, how did you react when you did get that bag of potato chips? Did you do something that was pleasurable to you, or did you do something that really hurt you or hurt somebody else? And then if that was the point that you did hurt somebody or hurt yourself, then with CBT, what we're going to try and do is help you think of something else that you can do besides that behavior you actually presented.
Yeah. Well, let's take this back a sort of a step backwards. I mean, from your perspective, what kind of people, or what kind of um, situations that maybe people are facing, would you recommend cognitive behavioral therapy for? Because it's obviously a very big spectrum. You're going to have people one end of it who are completely traumatized, and there's people at the other end. So if you have people who maybe, like, for instance, who are maybe suffering anxiety, is cognitive behavioral, CBT, a good path to go down before they go and speak to their local GP and ask about medication? Or is this a stage that they should go to their doctor and then have advice from their doctor? I mean, just generally, what areas do you think that CBT is, particularly if someone's facing a situation, a really good and strong advice and a strong kind of pathway to follow?
Well, kind of behavior therapy works with many different mental disorders and diseases. So, for example, anxiety is a good one, or depression is a good one. So, those are some common ones that you can use kind of behavior therapy for, to help work through the depression, or work through the anxiety feelings when you come across a certain situation, or have a certain experience in life.
Exactly. I mean, I think one of the fascinating uh, things you find, and I think this is why I really wanted to speak about, because I think it is real that, we spoke about this before. Myself, people maybe listening, it's not that you'll maybe find people within a circle of your friends, or 6 degrees of separation. You'll find someone who's probably taken their life from suicide, and it's been because of these mental, issues that have built up and built up and built up. Now, the reason I mention this is, with the scenario as it is, with some people can get really, really bleak. It's the, how do we open this door up to make this kind of, you know pathway to go down the CBT and many, behavioral therapy and all the kind of therapies that may help. How do we open that door to all the stigma that may be involved? From maybe from one side, the stigma may be, oh, I'm not going to go and see a therapist, or the other side may be like, oh, no, drugs work and that's just my solution, and I've always been told that way. So how do we open these doorways to make it more of an accessible thing? Because at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. The objective is to basically make human beings better people, and cognitive behavioral therapy is a very great way of making people better. But there's a very general progression over here just to put people straight onto pills. So I think it's anything that can strengthen someone building their own defenses rather than just being taken to a pill is a good step. But how do we get over the stigma? What would be your advice?
Well, the one thing that we have to do is honestly just talk about it and be realistic with what we do have to work with in our communities and, within our own family support systems. When a lot of times many people don't have honestly, the support system or the resources to get the help that they really need due to the financial cost or the stigmatism that people do have on it. So if we really just go ahead and talk about what's really going on, and not allow what people think is going on, and we talk about what's going on, then research and reach out to resources that can help us. That's one way we can just really get over the stigmatisms of what people say related to therapy and seeking help.
Exactly, and I think another element of this is always, and I think it's imperative on people who have maybe going through some sort of, for want of a better word, because I don't really like using this, but if you have a mental illness, it's to stand up and say, hey, I'm not ashamed of this. That's one element. And people again who have conquered such things. I mean, I'm quite happy to say, I've been through some very dark experiences myself, and I've come through this. And it's not just by some, pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, young man. It takes a lot of, progression and steps and finding a lot about deep inner parts of yourself that maybe some people have been afraid to. But I think it's imperative on the people who have walked through that pathway and come out the other end for them to stand up and say, hey, there is a pathway through this. I think that's really imperative, as much as it is for people like yourself who are doing the great work of opening the doors up. I think it's imperative for the people who walk through the other end to say, hey, this is what it means. And I don't mean going into public forums, but I mean just spreading it into their day-to-day lives. But this is, right. I'd argue the bottom line of that is that the people, maybe I'm self-defeating myself, but maybe one of the greatest examples of how anybody can really show how the power of something like CBT will be witnessed in their lives and how much they will transform. I think that's more of the people will be like, wow, what happened to you? And that's just in itself is very powerful.
Right. That you're exactly right with that. It is. Mm-hmm.
No, I mean on a completely practical human level. I mean, it kind of takes you back to what I was saying before. Is there any particular age or either end that can be that CBT in particular can be used towards? I mean, I know you work a lot with families and that kind of age group. I mean, is there a sort of bottom limit to where you can start introducing CBT? I mean, could you start introducing it to a 10-year-old?
The age, is something that you want to primarily work with young adolescents and adults. Again, but you really want to. It depends on the person's mental ability to comprehend as well too. So we're looking at that to see if they're able to actually function and comprehend without being, having any, like traumatic brain injuries or any mental retardation, anything that's going to hinder their actual ability to reason. So you're looking at that as well when you're using cognitive behavior therapy, because again, it's trying to get you to rethink a way that you are certainly is already programmed. So we're going to try and get rid of a lot of habits that you may already be in the form of using daily. So we're going to try and break those habits and get you to and retrain your brain. So we look at, it's not a matter of like an age, more so it's more of a level of competency.
Well, this is kind of branching this out, but I think it's always been a fascination to mine. And I'll give you a bit of background. I mean, I was fortunate to spend some time in India and over in Asia and stuff. And you found over there wasn't so much open, and again, it's a very wide debate where it's just because that's what I'm saying, it's hidden under the surface. But just generally, there was a much more stable, and you didn't see people having as much, for want of a better word, mental illnesses. And one of the things I've always thought key was the fact that just the Eastern philosophy of breathing, meditation, yoga was very much intrinsic into everyday the life of school children. And the reason I mentioned this, I was just reading an article just the other week about how there was a school in Canada and they did exactly the same. So kids in this really, I think it was Toronto, really kind of rough school that had really bad grades and just lots of general aggravation. And instead of just basically putting these kids into isolation or punishing them in some type of way, they said, right, okay, you're going to sit down in the hallway and meditate for half an hour. And they found this dramatic difference in the children. These most kicking off kids were suddenly becoming the most, espousing so much potential out of them. Their grades went through the roof. They became a lot better human beings. So I wonder if that's just something, again, that maybe we need to introduce into our culture generally, just to some time, just like you say, taking some time to think and breathe and, adding, I don't know what your thoughts upon that are.
I think that that does help people clear their mind and reprocess their thoughts. And when you take time out to think and breathe and start over, so I think that is very key to what has to happen and to help people really understand what's going on with their lives and not make rational decisions. That is a good way, and I've seen that also floating around on Facebook where it was a school that was giving the kids, instead of timeout, they were getting opportunities to practice yoga and do these exercises, and that was their form of discipline. So and they said again in that article that it really turned the kids around and the attitudes and the behavior related to going to school and socializing with each other. I really, one thing that we teach with cognitive behavior therapy is learning how to relax your body, your breathing, and focus in on relaxing your muscles to help relax your mind and start over and get a fresh thought related to whatever you're trying to get done, even if that's simple as having a conversation with somebody. So I do agree with practicing exercise in order to relax and relate and expand your mind.
Exactly, and I think this is one of the things, and I think we briefly touched upon this in previous conversations. But when you look at us as a human, through so much, we've discussed this before, so much technical revolution, evolution is such a short period of time and it's exponentially quick. We're still essentially the same genetic makeup as we were 100,000 years ago, a million, since human beings have really been on the planet, really. And with this complexity that's surrounding it, it's not surprising that we're all finding it stressful and stuff like this. And I think this is one of the, I think we were discussing it before, where it's not only to have this time out. Maybe it's something we all need to do. We all need to take some time out. Because think about it, that's what I'm saying. And it's part of our genetic code that we're meant to be going out every day, walking and hunting, and just being generally active. And like you say, we become a very sedentary culture. And that exercise is actually good, not only for the body, but for the mind as well. And I think this is one of the keys that's been lost in this world of what we live in at the moment, is how important the mind and the body are completely interlinked. That only goes for exercise, but also for diet. I mean, that whole what you're putting into your body will affect how you think and how you are. I mean, sugar. Right. I mean, that's a very good example. And I think these are the steps that I've always thought this, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. But I think if we start to take people start to take some of these little small steps, like walking a bit further, talking to their kids more, as we've spoken upon before, exercising a bit more, changing their diet, just those little incremental steps done by every individual, I think would change culture in a massive way in a very short space of time. I don't know how your thoughts.
It definitely will. It definitely will. And the reason why it would do that is because, it's really, again, reteaching people how to take care of themselves, being more mindful about what they're doing to their bodies, and how they're putting out energy as well as receiving energy. So it sounds like it's something so small to be mindful of what you eat or what time you go to bed and how much rest that you get. But at the same time, with our fast life and the pace that we move, we grab things, we stay up later. We try and, not really focus in on resting or being healthy. So, but those things really do play a big part in how we put off energy to other people, how we receive other people. But again, it's a way that we have to retrain our brain and really own who we are and what we're really trying to accomplish in life for ourselves personally, as well as with the ones we engage with.
Oh, completely, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, just earlier on. I mean, at the end of the day, we've got that, death is always over our shoulders. We've got a very short period of time, and it's what we make with it. And this is one of the things that I think, just generally, I mean, it's one of those dualities of us as a human species. Of course, we love and desire, and hey, I'll be the first. I wouldn't want to go back at all, but we love to have things that make our lives easier, because we are very much lazy, lazy beings. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I wouldn't want to, go out and, washing my clothes out on a stone with, I've lived that life, and there's, every convenience we have is only a good thing. But with this, I'm saying, with this convenience and this lazy, the duality of it is we've all got to step up as human beings. Because, as I said, that comes down to us all, and that we've got to. And I think the reason why it's important that every human being steps up to it is because that time we've only got a short period of time, and I think that's what's. I think it's always driven many creative people is that idea of like that clock is ticking, so I better squeeze in and do as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I think that takes up, stepping up as well. But hey, Glendora, you'll notice as much as me. Is what I was saying before. They're inherently lazy, and when they face something that takes a bit of work, and secondly, if it involves any kind of like digging into past things that may be difficult for them to open up, they just run away and go, well, hey, so what, and I'll just carry on. But I think that's really a sad reflection, because what happens is we end up with people with, as I was saying, fat, diabetes, people dying, human beings have lost potential. And I think that's something we've all got to individually wake up and say, we've all got to step up as human beings. And it should be a joy, because we've only got, that's what I'm saying, this is a great moment we've got to live on a rock. And I don't think many people really appreciate how fortunate, A, we are to be alive, and B, how fortunate are, for instance, how fortunate you to be born in America, or am I over here and we're not born in North Korea? I mean, let's be real.
Right. And we really got to be mindful so we can be able to catch the moments to be fortunate about. We really do get caught up on like I say, the fast pace of life, and we forget about the simple things, and like just eating right and taking care of yourself. So, using cognitive behavior therapy is a great way to help someone really look at ways that they can their belief and find like irrational points of their belief, and help them see other ways to look at it in a different perspective that may present to them as rational, and others as rational. A lot of times, it's hard for us, to look at ourselves and say, okay, well, I need to fix this, or, my way is wrong, and care about it. And we usually want to say, what, it's my way, and I really don't care who don't really want to agree with it. The reality is that we're not really helping build relationships between other people and ourselves. We have to stop and say, what, I care about it. Why does not coming out right? What else can I do different? And one way to do something different is to use cognitive behavior therapy.
Exactly, and I think it's another truth that needs to be spoken upon again, is that ultimately, okay, maybe the culture that we our particular was, and particularly our parents' generation was basically just suck everything down, push it to the bottom, and don't suppress everything. But that suppression doesn't do anyone any good. And this is what I love about things like cognitive therapy, because it gets you to the point to understand, okay, this is why I'm going down that path. I could just ignore it and suppress it and leave it alone. But the thing about that is, this is the truth I want to speak upon, you can't suppress it. It will come out. You may be one of them people go, okay, I can suppress it all. And to your work colleagues and the family around you, you're great. But when you're at home with your missus or your husband, you're shouting, you're screaming, or some irrational moment, you'll be screaming your head off. And you can't, suppression is never a healthy state of mind. And I think this is one of the things I love about CBT. It makes you realize, like, this is why I've done this. And I've got to understand that. So when I next confront that situation, I don't just go with that normal pathway that leads to me being angry or, whatever that, expresses in it, projects itself in. And I think it's really important for people to understand that, because there is this mindset amongst people going, oh, well, I'm not going to do any of this because it means me opening myself up and I'm fine. Good old British tone, I'll put a good old stiff upper lip and I'll just march on through. And these people, and let's be real about these people, I know. Again, I'll be really true about this. These are, if you really do that, I honestly think there's a connection between you suppressing stuff mentally and physically, how you deteriorate. And I see this with old people who have suppressed so much for so long, and then their old age, they're completely deteriorated. And you think, well, then they've lost all the joy of life and everything. And I think there's a real connection. That's why I think it's imperative that this is spoken upon and told to people. There are solutions, so you don't have to suppress this and march on.
Well, yeah, suppressing how you feel and what you're thinking really does create cancer within your body. It creates stress. It creates ulcers. It encourages diabetes. It encourages heart attacks. So it is a medical issue related to suppressing your thoughts and feelings. It doesn't mean that you have to be aggressive or passive to relay your information or express yourself. But again, you still need to learn how to be assertive. And I wrote about assertive behavior and communication styles in my book, Leaving Legacies, Breaking the Disconnect Between Parents and Millennials. I wrote about that because I didn't feel like enough people really understood the different levels of communication patterns. And if you could understand like what level that or what pattern style that you normally use, then you may want to change that. And by you trying to change it or trying to implement assertive communication, that's trying to give yourself a little CBT right there. You're trying to do a little cognitive behavior therapy right there by changing the way you think, which is going to change your behavior. And you're literally trying to practice that to try and improve yourself. So, understanding the difference between assertive communication and aggressive communication, as well as passive, can really help you really move further in your relationships with the people that you're connecting to or wanting to connect to.
Exactly, and I think that's the bottom line of I think it's the bottom line of everything we're discussing. I mean, everybody's put onto this planet, and as I say before, I mean, if you're fortunate enough to be born in a part of the world where you're not born into warfare and strife and tyranny, if you're fortunate, then it's the right of every human being to have the most enjoyable experience they possibly can. And that's why I think it's important that calls like this go out, that to everybody, go and find. Don't have to suffer. Don't suffer. I mean, I put this out as a call, Glendora, because I think to me it's really impassionate, because I've lost literally too many close friends to suicide, and I'm sitting this brick wall over and over again, and it's kind of like just this lost potential of human beings. And I think something needs to be broken. That glass, whatever it is, that door, that ceiling needs to be broken, where people can go, look, it's okay to reach out to somebody or find a solution myself where I can enjoy and express myself to my fullest content, because that's the one thing we've got. And I think it's really important that needs to go out, because we just need it in these times, and we need people to know that. This is what I love about CBT, that it's in your hands. You haven't got to sort of, like I say, just put yourself over, or fearful about, handing everything over to drugs or anything like that. You can just, or other solutions that maybe are out to you. There are solutions where you can, overcome it. And I think this other people think it's really important to say is it's nothing other than what we all go through. This is one of the things that, this is what CBT and these particularly is great at opening up that awareness on. So it's like, hey, everybody goes through these thoughts. It's not some sort of like, you've been cursed by some almighty power and that's your punishment. It's just natural behavior. It's the way the brain works and the way we see things. And I think, again, these may sound small little things, but to me, they're great beacons of light to people who are suffering in dark corners of this planet,
I like to tell people, you're not special. You didn't get just chosen to help go through this problem. Yeah, you really is not that special. I usually get a kick out of that. And you think you're special because you got this issue? You're not.
Exactly, and that's why again, maybe I bring it down to just the real life, the everyday life one, and I always sort of feel like, like not only you're not special, but equally like always count your blessings, are a better word. Always remember that you've got a life, you've got health. If you're lucky enough to have friends around you, then great. And if you are these things, then that's what I'm saying. If you've got friendships, then develop them more. Embrace the people. Sometimes it's just simple things like go to your kids and give them a hug and tell them you love them. Just ring someone up and tell them, hey, how are you doing? And these are the small things of that humanity that I think is greatly, especially in the world we live in now. And I don't want to get this, pull this into one, but we live in this world where so much is division and trying to make people go against each other. And we need to reach out as a species and say, like you said, none of us are special. None of us. Donald Trump still gets up in the morning, eats his breakfast. At some point through the day, he's got to go to the toilet. He's got a bath. Then he's going to sleep, and he's going to wake up the next day and do it the same. Same for the Queen of England, and the same for Glendora, and the same for Tim. We're all just the same. It's just life that goes between us.
That's exactly what it is. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. I totally agree. And we gotta just everybody put on your pants on one leg at a time if you wear them. I totally agree.
Well, anyway, so just to sort of broaden this out a bit. Since our last conversation, Glendora, how's things generally been? Last time we kind of left, I know you were kind of just about to get, things were really busy for you, and I wanted to sort of like two things: like how was just general, how things been, and secondly, how's I don't know, it's like we've been talking kind of privately on, but how have you found the experience of trying to step into the crypto world?
Everything has been great. Honestly, it slowed down a lot. I guess the holiday season, it just get really depressing for a lot of people, and so it gets really like busy around about that time. But far as the bio and the crypto tent, how you well, I was trying to say it, Tim, but I was trying to get with you because I wanted to talk to you more about trying to understand, like, I was going to try to open up a wallet, and when I was trying to look at it on the internet, I really wasn't clear, so I wanted to see if I can get with you on our phone and so we can go over it. Do you want to take that time now?
Well, yeah, we can. Literally, I'm happy to do it right now. If you go to the link I sent you, one of the things I think is, again, the pathway I'm going to send you, and this is what I have definitely witnessed since I've been stepped into this world. It's got a lot easier. So the pathway, this is what I think is really good. This dude is now live on while we're here. So go to that page, the Omni Wallet page.
Okay, go to which page?
The Omni Wallet. I sent you the link.
Okay.
Just go to just type in www.omni Omni Wallet, Omni Wallet. Or Omni into Google search, and you'll soon find the link.
Okay, omniwallet.org.
Yeah, exactly. And then that will take you to a screen. Describe to people what you're seeing on screen.
It says create your wallet.
Okay, so what instructions is it giving to you there?
Just go ahead and create one right quick. Is that what it's telling? Balance check, enter your buy account address.
So, yep. So now you've got.
I don't have an address though.
Right. So you're on that very page you're on right now. It says open a wallet. Yeah.
Yeah, I can create a wallet. You want me to go there?
And yep, create a wallet. Obviously, don't tell me or anybody your password. Sounds obvious, but and for people listening, or maybe you're going to go through this password, you'll basically get a tab that says to you, password. You repeat your password, an email, and it gives you a anti-bot word typing texting, and then you're going to go through that process.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay, so now you have a wallet, yeah?
Yeah.
So what, again, people listening, describe what you can see on your screen.
Okay, it just says Omni Wallet, and it's like a dashboard. It gives me an overview and tell me about my address and the assets and the history.
Perfect. Excellent. Right. Okay. So right now on that, I'm just going to, that is basically now your wallet there, Glendora. So now in essence, that's, which I'm going to explain, I'm going to walk you through now, is how to basically, I'll give you the key that you can basically give out after the, and there, the key I'm going to give you out, or the address that I'm going to give you, you can basically post on public forums, anywhere you like, and that is your public wallet. That means, in essence, that's somewhere where people can donate to you, send you funds, send you any kind of crypto coin, and then you'll get that in that wallet. So just give me a case. I'm just opening my wallet now. Right. So at least you're one step further down the line. So if you go to your, it says my addresses.
Okay.
And do you have a series of numbers and letters there, yeah?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, that is your public address. So if you can cut and paste that with the little I can't remember, it's actually the box as well. You can put the one for scanning. You can put that up, but that's your the numbers and the letter. That's your public ID wallet address. Again, you can put that out on your Twitter feed. Then people can go to that and pay into it. So now, in essence, Glendora, you are part of the crypto world. You have a wallet. I will send you some funds when we put this down tonight. In fact, you know what I mean. And then you're away. And this is exactly it.
So what goes on with the wallet then? So once funds are in there, then what happens?
Okay, perfect. So now you have a wallet, which is your, like I say, so it's like you have a public, address. So, for instance, like tonight after I finish this, I will send you some Bitcoin across. Then you'll get that into your overview. So next time you're signing, you'll go, oh look, there's X amount of, and it'll give you the value in dollars of how much has been sent across. Then that in essence is like your bank account. Now the next step from that is, or the next question anybody asks is like, okay, great, I've got all these Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies in this wallet. How do I get that and make that, go and buy me, some normal everyday stuff in everyday life with everyday dollars? Now, the step for that is once you've got that wallet and you've got that address, again, this is all very, I'll say to you personally, it's down to research. You have to, I don't know, I couldn't tell you specifics of where you live in Georgia or how the access to things like Bitcoin cash machines are and stuff like this. But if you go onto line, which again, I'll put in the links in the show, there's many websites where you, like bitcoins.com, where you can basically go online and you'll find someone who will basically do a transfer for you. So it's the same process. You all have your wallet, your address. They will give you their address. You'll send some funds to them. Then they will put it into your bank account, or you can go and meet them and hand person to person. There's many ways of getting the Bitcoin into cash, and even easier in America because there's things like Bitcoin cash machines and stuff. So in essence, that's you in essence right now, Glendora. You have a public a wallet, which is again that address you can put out. Then people can send to you. You can send and receive funds. I will maybe talk you through a paper wallet. That's another issue completely, but that's you don't have to get to that point of view right now. Right now, that is your account. So all you need to do is keep obviously your personal password to yourself. But that public wallet, you can give that ID out to anybody you like. That's just basically a public place where people can send you, copy and paste and send you some funds. So then, in essence, there, Glendora, you're part of this crypto revolution. You're part of the new. You're part of the new world.
All right. Well, all right. So you said go to bitcoin.com and then you can see where you can get the money dispersed.
Localbitcoin.com.
Local.
Mm-hmm. Or if you just type into Google engine, buy sell Bitcoin, Georgia, or wherever you may be in the world listening to this. Or just put in Bitcoin and where you are, and you're bound to find out whether there's local. Because I mean, again, depending where you are in the world, you'll have shops, restaurants, cafes, hotels. It's all about how many, the scale of variance, how many people are using it in your local areas. Obviously, some parts of America, for instance, some parts of Colorado have massive adoption. You can do all sorts in Colorado with Bitcoin and stuff. You have to touch. I know people in America are living completely out of the dollar system, and they pay all their bills, their rent, everything through cryptocurrency. So, but that depends on where you are, and I understand fully because I don't know what Georgia's like, but hey, I can only speak of Scotland, so I know I haven't got Bitcoin cash machines around me, so I know it's right now we're at the early stages, but it's
So
I think.
And then you say like when you're ready to like when I do my Periscope lives or I'm doing this live, I should have like my ID number, my Bitcoin ID number, and paste that out so they can go there.
Yeah. You can do that, and it's also and I can't, again, please forgive me, it's late at night, but the little, you'll see by the side of the series of numbers and letters, there's a little box, the scan box with all the little dots in it. I think it's called the UR code, but if you can take that and paste it into your Periscope, because that's just the code, and then people can put their phone up to it, bang, and then straight into it, like the scanning the code thing. But yeah, in essence, you just put your wallet ID and put it onto your Twitter page anywhere. Donate to, and put that out to, and people want to donate to, they can.
Okay. All right. Let's see what happens.
Exactly. I know that again, Glendora. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to be overwhelmed in wealth, but at least it's another option. And I think that's the reason I say this to people, because I think there's many different options as possible to get resources into people like you. Excellent. So at least it's another option. It's another bow in your armory.
Now, what happened to at least it was my address. So you said take your wallet has. Let's say your wallet has a private key for address. Okay, so that's the private. Okay, so I see what you're saying. Frequent asked questions here or something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Perfect. I feel like Glendora. I feel like I feel like I feel tonight's been a really enlightening conversation, because not only have we kind of explored briefly CBT, but I feel the biggest step forward in this whole conversation is now at least you walked you through in lifetime getting yourself a crypto wallet. So I think that's been my achievement of my day so far.
Okay, awesome.
I feel really happy. That's because it's like I say. I mean, and again, I think the great thing about hopefully what you've learned with this is it wasn't too harmless. It wasn't too painful. It was quite simple. It wasn't you have to give any especially compared to sort of some of the credit cards and that was very simple, and and that's. It's only going to get easier, and this is only going to become more and more and more. So it's been really, I think inspiring to sort of to see you walk through it, because people can nothing more inspiring than seeing people do things in real time. So excellent. Well, look, Glendora, it's been absolutely an insightful conversation with you tonight. And I want to wrap this up, maybe just a bit where we did begin, and you briefly said before we went live, and I really want to I want you to paint a picture as much as you possibly can. Tell me about the bad weather today. So for people maybe living in other parts of the world who've never experienced what the weather's like, when you say bad weather, I mean, people can put their own spin on that. So tell me exactly what, the definition of bad, because I think bad weather in Georgia, and I'm thinking, okay, I've seen some of the stuff on the news and the telly about what, weather's like in Georgia. So tell me, just paint a picture of what the weather is like at the moment.
Well, right now the weather is just it was rainy and dark, and it was coming down pretty hard. So I think it kind of caught people off guard because our weather has been very hot and opposed to it actually is wintertime and it's not cold at all. We've been in like the 67s and it's been off and on all week. And so a lot of people are just getting colds and just not really doing well with the temperature going back and forth from not really staying cold like wintertime and being more like springtime. I think I seen a flower blooming in my backyard earlier today too. It was a yellow flower, so it's just confusing. And the weather, it's storming and it was thundering and lightning as well as just raining really hard.
Well, I think that goes back to, ironically, just the very beginning of this conversation. And I think there's nothing else more enjoyable in this life for all the, I think it's like you speak upon, and you're the most inspiring people I know who shines this light more than anybody else. You say about how we've just been distracted by technology and we've been distracted by all these. There's nothing more than to fire the human synapses in us as a human being and to go out and look at the thunderstorm and look at the rain and go, hey, I'm such a small speck in this universe. And how great is that? And it doesn't cost a penny. This is one of the things that the enjoyable. You don't need to go on WhatsApp. You haven't got to worry about Facebook. You haven't got to worry about your TV going down or anything. You can just go outside and experience the greatest show that the universe has given us, all for free. And I think that's it's one of the great simple lessons that we can all do. You haven't got, to find happiness, you haven't got to have money or all that kind of thing. Sometimes the simplest and most happy things in life can just be gained by going outside and looking at the world we live in.
Correct. I agree.
Welcome, Doris. Like I say, it's been a really insightful conversation. And before we do wrap this up, let's give people a couple of things. Where can they reach out and find your book? Where can they reach out and find you?
Okay. Well, they can reach out and get my book at Amazon.com. It's called Leaving Legacies: Breaking the Disconnect Between Parents and Millennials. And also they can find me on Periscope at Dvine Systems GA, Dvine Systems GA, or they can look me up on the internet at Glendora.solutions. 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 I also have a parenting group that's on Facebook. It's called Peaceful Parent Strategies. Peaceful Parent Strategies. Peaceful Parent Strategies. Facebook group. So I would love for, and also you can on Instagram it's Glendora Dvine. So I'm all over there. Just look out for me and you'll find me.
And also, again, don't forget your Periscope. What's your Periscope handle?
It's Dvine Systems GA. Dvine Systems GA.
Perfect. Well, absolutely. Like I say, thank you very much for your time. Maybe when we wrap this conversation up, you can send me your either through private message. You send me your public key number, and I'll send you, like I said, I'll send you some Bitcoin across and stuff like this. But Glendora, it's been an absolute perfect conversation, and well, from all over here in cold, wintry Scotland, and all over there in rainy, thundery, stormy Georgia, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I want to say, life is people.
Thank you. Life is people.